God is watching you right now, and what you're about to lose will change everything. Stop for a second. Don't scroll. Don't look away, because this is not a coincidence. You didn't just randomly click on this video. Something deeper is happening. Something spiritual, something urgent, and whether you realize it or not, you are standing on the edge of a moment that could shift your entire life. Right now, there's something in your life that feels like it's slipping through your fingers. You can feel it. Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's your peace, maybe it's your purpose, or maybe it's something you haven't even fully understood yet. But deep down there's this quiet fear inside you whispering, what if I lose it all? And here's the part that should shake you. God sees it. He sees the nights you stayed awake, overthinking every possibility. He sees the silent battles you never told anyone about. He sees the confusion, the pressure, the weight that's been building inside your chest. And right now, He's not distant. He's not ignoring you. He's watching you closely. Because what you're going through is not small. It's not random. It matters. But there's something you need to understand. The feeling you have right now, that tension, that fear, that sense that something is about to break. It's not just anxiety. It's a warning. It's a signal. It's that moment before everything changes. And this is where most people make the biggest mistake of their lives. They ignore the signs. They brush it off. They distract themselves. They convince themselves everything is fine. Until it's gone. Until the opportunity disappears. Until the relationship falls apart. Until the door closes and never opens again. You don't want to be that person. Because if you're feeling this right now, if your heart is beating just a little faster, as you listen to these words, then hear this clearly. God brought you here for a reason. Not to entertain you, not to pass time, but to wake you up. Something is happening behind the scenes that you cannot see yet. Pieces are moving. Decisions are forming. And while you're standing here, unsure, confused, maybe even afraid, time is not slowing down. It's moving forward and every second matters. You might think you still have time. You might believe you can fix things later. But what if later never comes? What if the thing you're about to lose is something you were meant to protect? What if the silence you're ignoring right now is actually God trying to get your attention before it's too late? This is where it gets real, because sometimes God allows you to feel like you're about to lose everything, not to destroy you, but to reveal something you've been blind to, something you've overlooked, something that, if you don't recognize it now, could change the direction of your entire life. And that's why this moment matters so much. You're not here by accident. You're here because something in your spirit knows that what you're facing is serious, that what's at stake is bigger than you thought, and that, if you don't pay attention right now, you could walk away from something that was never meant to be lost. So, don't ignore this feeling. Don't silence that voice inside you. Because this could be the very moment that decides what stays in your life and what disappears forever. And the truth is, you're closer than you think, closer to the breaking point, closer to the loss, closer to that moment where everything shifts and you're left asking yourself, why didn't I see it sooner? But maybe, just maybe, you're seeing it now for a reason. You think you're losing everything. But what if this moment is hiding something far deeper? You didn't just reach this breaking point by accident. This was allowed. Take a moment and really feel that. Because what you're experiencing right now, the pressure, the confusion, the emotional weight that feels almost unbearable, it didn't just show up out of nowhere. It built slowly, piece by piece, moment by moment, until now, you're standing here, feeling like everything around you is about to collapse. And maybe that's exactly how it feels, like you're losing control, like the things you once depended on are slipping away. And no matter how hard you try to hold on, your grip keeps weakening. You wake up with a heavy chest. You go to sleep with a restless mind. And in between, you're just trying to survive your own thoughts. The fear is real. It's not just a passing feeling. It sits with you. It follows you. It whispers worst-case scenarios into your mind when everything gets quiet. What if this doesn't work out? What if I lose them? What if everything I've been building falls apart? And the hardest part, you don't have answers. You keep searching for clarity, for direction, for some kind of sign that everything is going to be okay. But instead, you're met with silence. A kind of silence that feels heavy. A silence that makes you question everything, even your faith. You start wondering, God, where are you? Why does it feel like you're not speaking to me? Why does it feel like I'm going through this alone? And that silence, it hurts more than anything else, because you expected him to show up by now. You expected things to make sense. You expected some kind of breakthrough, some kind of relief, but instead, the pressure keeps building. And the uncertainty keeps growing, and it's exhausting. You're tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. Your mind is constantly running. Your heart feels stretched, thin, and your emotions are all over the place. One moment you're trying to stay strong, telling yourself you'll get through this, and the next moment you feel like you're about to break. You try to hold it together in front of others. You smile. You act like everything is fine. But deep down, there's a part of you that's quietly falling apart, and no one really sees it. That's what makes this so heavy. The loneliness of it. Because even when people are around you, they don't fully understand what's going on inside your mind, inside your heart. They don't feel the weight you carry. When you're alone, they don't hear the thoughts that keep you awake at night. And in those moments, it feels like you're losing everything, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. Your sense of stability, your sense of peace, your sense of direction. It all feels like it's slipping away. And the more you try to fix it, the more it feels like things are getting out of control. But here's the truth that's hard to accept. Sometimes, the breaking point hidden finally comes to the surface. All the emotions you've been suppressing, all the fears you've been ignoring, all the things you told yourself you could handle, they rise up all at once, and suddenly you can't pretend anymore. You can't fake strength. You can't ignore the pain. You can't run from it. And maybe that's why this moment feels so intense, because it's forcing you to face everything you've been avoiding. It's forcing you to feel everything you've been trying not to feel. And yes, it feels like too much. It feels unfair. It feels confusing, but what if this isn't happening to break you beyond repair? What if this silence you're experiencing isn't absence? What if it's something deeper? Because sometimes, when everything gets quiet, it's not because nothing is happening. It's because something is being prepared. And right now, even though it doesn't make sense, even though it feels like you're losing control, something is shifting beneath the surface. Something you can't fully see yet. Something that requires this exact moment of pressure, this exact moment of uncertainty. That doesn't make it easier, but it changes how you see it. Because maybe this breaking point isn't the end. Maybe it's the moment, right before something begins. When everything falls apart, it's not always destruction. Sometimes it's preparation. God didn't leave you. He allowed this for a reason you can't see yet. I know that's hard to accept, especially when everything inside you is screaming for relief. When your prayers feel like they're hitting the ceiling and falling back down, unanswered. When the silence feels louder than any voice you've ever heard. It's in these moments that doubt creeps in, that quiet question forms in your heart. If God is with me, then why does this hurt so much? But what if the pain you're feeling right now isn't proof of His absence? What if it's evidence of His work? Because not every season of your life is meant to feel comfortable. Not every chapter is meant to make sense while you're in it. There are moments, deep, intense, almost unbearable moments, where God allows pressure, not to destroy you, but to transform you. This is where spiritual testing begins. Not the kind of test you can study for, not something you can prepare for with logic or planning. This is the kind that reaches into your soul, the kind that reveals what's really inside you when everything else is stripped away. Your patience, your faith, your dependence. And right now, it feels like everything is being tested at once. The things you thought were stable are shaking. The things you trusted are uncertain. The things you held onto for security are slipping away. And it's not random. It's not chaos. It's refinement. Because sometimes, before God gives you what you've been asking for, He has to remove what you've been relying on. Not to punish you, but to purify you, to break down the parts of you that were built on fear, on control, on things that were never meant to hold your future. And yes, that process hurts. It feels like loss. It feels like things are being taken from you. But what's really happening is deeper than that. You're being reshaped. There are things inside you that can't go where God is taking you. Mindsets that need to be broken. Attachments that need to be released. Fears that need to be confronted. And the only way those things come to the surface is through pressure. That's why this moment feels so intense. Because it's not just about what's happening around you, it's about what's happening within you, the anxiety you feel. It's exposing where you've been holding on to control, the fear of losing everything. It's revealing what you've been placing your identity in, the confusion. It's showing you how much you've been relying on your own understanding, instead of trusting the process. And God sees all of it, every hidden fear, every silent struggle, every tear you've tried to hold back. None of it is wasted. Even when it feels like you're being pushed to your limit, there's purpose in it. There's intention behind the pressure, because God doesn't test you to watch you fail. He tests you to prepare you for something greater than what you're currently able to handle. But preparation doesn't feel good. It feels like breaking. It feels like uncertainty. It feels like standing in the middle of your life, not recognizing anything anymore, wondering how you got here and where you're even going. And still, God is there, not always speaking the way you expect, not always moving on your timeline, but working quietly, deeply, intentionally, in ways you can't fully see yet. That's why you feel this tension, because a part of you is being pulled away from what's familiar and into something unknown. And that space in between, that's where transformation happens. That's where your faith stops being something you say and becomes something you live. Where trust is no longer easy but necessary. Where you have to choose, even in the silence, even in the confusion, to believe that there's something greater unfolding. You might not understand it right now. You might not see the full picture. But this moment, this exact moment, where everything feels like it's falling apart, could be the very place where your life starts aligning in a way you never expected. Not by accident, not by chance, but by design. What feels like the end might actually be the moment everything begins to change. You are closer to a breakthrough than you've ever been. I know that sounds almost impossible to believe, especially when everything around you feels like it's falling apart. When your emotions are stretched thin, when your mind is overwhelmed, when your heart feels like it's carrying more than it was ever meant to hold, the last thing it feels like is a breakthrough. It feels like breaking, but sometimes those two moments look exactly the same, because what you're experiencing right now isn't just pain. It's pressure, and pressure, when it reaches its peak, doesn't last forever. It either crushes or it creates something new. And the truth is, you're not being crushed. You're being transformed. There's a shift happening inside you, even if you can't fully see it yet. The way you think is changing. The way you respond to things is changing. The things that used to satisfy you don't feel the same anymore. The distractions that once kept you comfortable are losing their hold on you, and that's not by accident. That's awakening, because elevation doesn't start when everything is perfect. It starts in the middle of chaos. It begins in the moment where you feel like you can't take another step, but somehow you do anyway. That's strength. Not the kind of strength that looks confident on the outside, but the kind that keeps going when no one is watching. The kind that chooses to stand, even when everything inside you wants to give up. The kind that whispers, "I'm not done yet," even when your circumstances are telling you otherwise, and you've been showing that strength even if you don't recognize it. Every time you didn't quit, every time you kept going, despite the fear, every time you faced another day when you didn't feel ready, that was you stepping closer to your breakthrough. Because breakthroughs don't just happen externally. They happen internally first. Before anything changes around you, something shifts within you. Your perspective deepens, your awareness sharpens. Your spirit becomes more sensitive to what truly matters. And suddenly, you start seeing things differently. you begin to realize that what once felt like loss might have been release, that what felt like rejection might have been protection, that what felt like confusion might actually be redirection. This is where everything starts to turn. Not because your circumstances immediately change, but because you do. There's a new level of clarity forming inside you, a new level of discernment. You start to recognize what drains you, what distracts you, what no longer aligns with who you're becoming, and instead of chasing everything, you begin to focus on what truly matters. That's elevation. It's not about gaining more, it's about becoming more aware, more grounded, more connected to something deeper than fear, deeper than doubt, deeper than the noise that used to control your thoughts. And as this shift continues, you'll notice something powerful. The things that once overwhelmed, you won't have the same power anymore. The anxiety that once consumed, you will start to loosen its grip. The fear that once paralyzed, you will begin to fade. Not because everything is suddenly easy, but because you're no longer the same person you were when this started. You've grown, you've been stretched, you've been refined in ways you didn't even realize were happening. And now, you're stepping into a version of yourself that can handle what's coming next. Because what's ahead of you requires this version of you. Not the one who doubted everything, not the one who relied on comfort, but the one who has walked through uncertainty and kept moving anyway. The one who has faced the silence and didn't lose faith completely. The one who has felt the breaking point and discovered there was still strength left inside. That's who you're becoming. And that's why this moment matters so much. Because you're not just going through something, you're becoming someone. But there is one thing you must understand before everything changes. You're not losing everything. You're being repositioned. I need you to let that sink in, because everything inside you might still be resisting it. Your emotions are telling you this is loss. Your thoughts are telling you this is the end. But what if what you're feeling isn't the collapse of your life? It's the rearrangement of it. Because God doesn't remove something without purpose. He doesn't allow things to fall apart, just to leave you empty. He shifts things. He repositions you. He moves pieces you were never meant to carry into, places you were never meant to stay. And yes, while it's happening, it feels like everything is being taken from you, but in reality, something is being aligned. You've been holding on to things that felt safe, things that felt familiar, things that gave you a sense of control. And now, one by one, those things are being shaken. Not because you're being punished, but because you're being prepared for something greater than what you've settled for. Prepared for a level of purpose you couldn't step into while holding on to what was holding you back. And I know it hurts. I know there are moments where you sit in silence and just feel the weight of it all. Moments where you question if you're strong enough to keep going. Moments where you wonder if things will ever make sense again. But hear this clearly. God has not left you. Even in the silence, He is present. Even in the confusion, He is working. Even in the moments where you feel like you're falling apart, He is holding you together in ways you can't see. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are chosen to go through this process, not because you're weak, but because there's something inside you strong enough to handle it. Something inside you that's being called to rise, to awaken, to step into a version of yourself that is no longer controlled by fear or limited by what used to define you. This isn't just about what you're losing, it's about who you're becoming. And who you're becoming is stronger than you think, more resilient than you realize, more prepared than you feel. There's a reason you've made it this far, a reason you didn't give up when it got hard, a reason you're still here, still searching, still listening, still holding on, even when it feels like everything is slipping away. That reason is not random, it's purpose. And purpose doesn't disappear in difficult moments, it gets revealed through them. So instead of seeing this as the end, start seeing it as a shift in direction, a shift in identity, a shift in your life that is moving you away from what was comfortable and into what is meaningful. You don't have to have all the answers right now. You don't have to understand every detail. But you do have to trust that this moment, no matter how painful it feels, is not here to destroy you. It's here to position you. And if something inside you is starting to feel that, even just a little bit, don't ignore it. Lean into it. Hold on to it. Because that small sense of clarity you feel right now, that quiet peace trying to break through the noise, that's not coming from nowhere. That's confirmation. So if this message reached you at the exact moment you needed it, don't just move on like nothing happened. Pause, acknowledge it, comment, amen. If you feel this speaking directly to you, let it be your way of saying, I'm still here, I'm still trusting, I'm still holding on. And if you're ready to keep growing, to keep strengthening your faith, to keep walking through this process with guidance and purpose, subscribe to this channel. Because you're not meant to do this alone. Like this video if it touched something inside you. Share it with someone who might be silently going through the same thing. Someone who needs to hear that they're not losing everything. They're being repositioned too. Because the truth is, right before everything changes, it always feels like you're about to lose it all.